So Donald Trump and the White House are rolling out their messaging and plan for you in 2026. And I want to go over what they're talking about. First, this is from the White House. They say, got coal, right? They're working with the Department of Energy. All right, let's see what we got here. This is a video of basically going back to work in the coal mines, the American flag, right? Get that coal, put on the construction hat. Trump will sign your construction hat. Wow, fantastic. Celebrate Trump. And go back into the mines. That's their messaging to you, is go back into the mines. You know, most people don't want to do this type of job. I'd be curious if any young people out there really want to go and be a coal miner. It's unhealthy, it's unsafe, and we need to be transitioning away from fossil fuels, or you could argue from fossil presidents like Trump. I'd like to get out of this world, but they want you to go back into the mines. Now, keep this in mind as we go through their other messaging today. This is from Fox News. Okay, so your future is to become a coal miner. Then they say, shop till you drop, because you got to keep spending to make sure that the economy keeps going, that we're a consumer-based economy. Shoppers eyeing home goods like furniture may want to act fast. Okay, get back in the mines, buy quickly, spend your money, hurry. As Wells Fargo warns, prices could rise in early 2026, and buying now could save you money. Really? So I guess furniture prices are going up, right? And they have a picture of someone buying a furniture at the furniture store, measuring whether or not it'll fit in their house. And you have to measure that because your house is going to be really, really small, so you may not be able to put much in there. These kind of messaging, I mean, it's so obvious what they're showing here, and I always find it strange that people go along with it, but maybe they don't see it. That's why I'm showing it to you. Here's more. From Fox News. They're basically saying, go to church. No, seriously. They were discussing all along, okay, young people are going to church. Oh, fantastic. So they're trying to encourage you to go to church. And it's interesting because when you look at any kind of polling data on this stuff, basically church attendance is down. And it's been like that for a while. It's been on a decline. Just people aren't into it that much anymore. But Fox is trying to get you to go to church because the idea is that as you become a coal miner and, maybe you get sick or whatever, they'll say, hey, your rewards are in heaven, right? You don't have to worry about this life. Just worry about the next life. That's when things will be great for you. And then you watch Elon Musk get rich and you're like, what's going on with that? Oh, but I love Elon Musk, right? And they'll tell you stuff like that. And then they'll also tell you, well, things may be tough. You may go to prison. This is actually on Fox News today. They're showing prisoners. I guess they were doing the Lord's Prayer. This is what it says. This is from Fox News. Faith behind bars. Surveillance video from inside a Michigan jail shows a powerful, unexpected moment on Christmas Eve. Without any prompting, over a dozen inmates gathered together, joined hands, and recited the Lord's Prayer. Now, I know viewers of Fox News, they won't make the connection, right? They'll think, oh, well, those are prisoners, and they love God too. But this is what Fox and the White House thinks of you, right? Just put it all together. Go back into the mines. Keep shopping. Shop till you die, basically. Right? Forget about this world. Pray for the next world that you'll have a great life. And this like messaging right here of like, hey, you're all prisoners and pray really shows you who they are. They also say here's a quote. I saw unity and hope. I saw people choosing something better for themselves and for each other. When this happens, communities are safer and generational. Incarceration is broken. That's coming from the sheriff. So basically, if you pray, while you're basically in your, prison chains, your life will be better. That's their messaging today. But let me show you this. This is also from Trumpers, and their messaging is a bit strange when he's talking about Epstein. He says, now 1 million more pages on Epstein are found. Okay. DOJ is forced to spend all of its time on this Democrat-inspired hoax. Okay. When do they say no more? And work on election fraud, etc. The Dems are the ones who worked with Epstein, okay? Not the Republicans. Release all their names, embarrass them, and get back to helping the country. The radical left doesn't want people talking about Trump, the Republican success. Only long ago dead Jeffrey Epstein, just another witch hunt. So just think about this. They want you to go back in the mines. They want you to shop till you drop. And while you're a prisoner, pray. And then he's like, okay, and this Epstein thing's a hoax, but he words this really weird because he's saying like we got a million more pages of this thing, and then he's saying it basically exposed the Democrats, but yet it's all a hoax. It doesn't make sense because if it's some sort of hoax, but yet you want to expose certain people, then that means something is going on there, right? But I'll just say this: for Trumpers who claims he's 100% innocent, he doesn't behave that way. Check this out, though. People are quitting. This is really interesting.
A lot of frustration with Congress these days, but it's not just for people outside. Members themselves are growing frustrated. And right now, we have seen 53 lawmakers, that's 44 members of the House and 9 senators, announce that they will not be running for re-election for their current seats. And this is a record for this time in the cycle. I mean, remember, we're only about halfway through the current cycle. Midterms are later in the year. We are expecting to see more retirements when it comes in January.
So it's actually pretty significant, right? And they were saying maybe more retirements coming next year, January, just a week or so now from today. But there's actually going to be a big sea change because I made jokes when we go look at the Trump messaging, but people aren't necessarily going to fall for that stuff because it's frankly crazy when you read through this stuff. Okay, I'm back in the mine, pray I'm going to be a prisoner. Many politicians just don't want to do it, and plus you're dealing with an angry voter base. Scott Besson then is going to try to convince you that you're going to get this massive tax refund. You're okay. What is it, Scott? Cha-ching, they say. Treasury Secretary Scott Besson predicts that Americans will get quite a bit of money back from the Uncle Sam in the upcoming tax filing season thanks to tax cuts and President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act, right? Quote, I think households could see, depending on the number of workers, $1,000 to $2,000 refunds. That's according to Scott Besson, okay? Now, I just want you guys to tell me how much are groceries, how much is your health insurance, how much is your car insurance, how much is your home insurance, and understand this stuff all in context. I personally don't think many Fox people will necessarily fall for this particular thing, right? Because they can see the costs. I mean, when you get your bill, and you say, oh, I got an extra $1,000 on my refund. And maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know. That's what he claimed it's going to be. But the costs, right, outweigh any sort of refund that you get. The bulk of the tax refunds and things that they put into place are going to benefit, again, like your Elon Musk in the world. And I promise you guys, Elon Musk isn't hurting. He's doing okay. But that's how they do it because when you look at just an average number, right, it covers up how people are doing in towards the bottom. Let's be frank with you on that. Also, this is kind of interesting. There's been a discussion on social media of Europe versus USA, and many people in Europe are pushing back because basically, what they try to do is the Trumpers, they try to get you afraid of changing the system, right? Again, go back in the mine, shop till you drop, and pray while you're in prison. That's their messaging. But let's look at Europe here. Because remember, Trump will try to say you're not free if you go to, like, say, a more European type system. Just for example, it says here, regarding Europe, is, quote, among the least free people on earth. And that's what Trumpers and Elon Musk will say. Here are rankings from Cato, a American think tank. They're saying right wing. You could argue that. There are many more such lists, but this one is weighted towards right-wing preferences, the level delusion of these people. And basically they're talking about personal freedom, economic freedom, human freedom, freedom score. And on this particular list, and there's different lists that you can look at, they're saying Switzerland, New Zealand, Denmark, Luxembourg, Ireland, Finland, Sweden, Iceland, Australia, Estonia, Canada, Norway, Japan, Germany, Netherlands, should be Czech, United Kingdom, are all above the United States in terms of freedom. And this is important because, again, on Fox News, they always say, oh, it's all about freedom. You can buy as many guns as you want, and you can shop till you drop to buy furniture and go back in the mines. And I also want to point out too, because it's it's not just Europe. People say this. Bernie Sanders has been saying this stuff for a long time. He says Trump hates Europe's democracies because they have universal health care, a strong social welfare system, and heavy unionization. Right? Because remember, Trump hates workers, so they don't want you to organize. Musk hate workers as well, and he's always been questioned and investigated for basically anti-worker practices or union busting kind of stuff. And Bernie says of Trump, he prefers MBS's Saudi Arabia, where a $1 trillionaire family runs a brutal dictatorship What a betrayal of American values. And that's the kind of future that Trump wants. You can see it in their messaging. And I just point out what they're saying with the whole prison and prayer stuff. This is what Doge say, because I want you to see different points of view. This is from Elon Musk people. They say Europe has zero internet sector, a stagnant economy, falling industrial base, structurally high unemployment, pervasive energy dependence, and no innovation sector in order to build any of the below blah, blah, blah. And then they basically want Europe to deregulate everything because they hate regulations, right? Then they'll go on how much you need to deregulate. And, one of the things I always tell you about this stuff with regulation is you want to keep people safe, right? So Elon Musk wants to put out cars that are unsafe, or they want to put out a whole bunch of AI that may give a bunch of, negative messages, or we'll just say there's dangerous messages to your kids, or invade your privacy, or any number of things. They don't want any regulation at all because they're just all about pushing profits. That's basically what the American system is. In Europe, though, they are pushing back. Bob says, this is how America does its democracy. They have nothing to teach us. I agree. And for me, this should have ended, any discussion of Trump being president. We don't talk about this stuff all the time on the channel. There's multiple things. You want to talk about Epstein or January 6th or whatever. But shouldn't it be obvious that Trump is completely unfit? It's obvious to me, and hopefully obvious to more people as we go into the next election cycle. But it is what it is. This is USA. Stefan says, why is Europe better than the United States? Well, Europe has a welfare system. Europe has free higher education. So it depends on which country that you're in. But many people were writing in the comments, because I asked you guys in the last video about how much you pay for education in Europe or even Canada, because people in Canada is like, man, you're crazy in USA, because you guys are telling the cost. And this is important to bring up. Education is a really big one, right? If you want to better your life, if you want to train for job skills, learn how to understand how the world works, it really pays to get educated. But unfortunately, in USA, which I completely understand, for many people, it's prohibitively expensive. It's like ludicrously expensive. We looked at the one person's bill for 1 year was like, they were saying, $40,000 for the year. And then when you finance it, 13%, it was like 13.5%, you end up paying like $118,000, which is ridiculous, right? Like you're paying more than double for your education. Whereas, in Europe, it's very different, right? Great public transportation, higher life expectancy, much lower cost of living, and good and cheap healthcare, right? All of these things. Europe has a much higher quality standard of quality of life than U.S. in almost every measurable category. So how exactly are Americans more free than Europeans? And this is the big number right here, life expectancy. And I've showed you guys several times on the channel different charts showing this. This is just showing Australia, Canada, UK, and high income countries. But if you want to include like specifics, I think Japan, Korea does very well for life expectancy. Sweden, I think Switzerland may be up there also. You'll see it. I think Hong Kong actually does well for life expectancy. But yeah, USA is lower than other high income countries. And I think this one is a big one. But if you understand how the US is constructed, and to guys, when I show you guys this stuff, I just try to put it out there so it's as clear as day. You can literally see it in the White House messaging, what they expect of you and what they want you to do. So I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. I do appreciate your time, and I'll catch you all in the next video.